That was a good interest, right? I'm gonna have to do that again. I'm gonna perfect it now. Thanks again for joining me, your servant of YAHUAH, Soya, in this assembly. And we're gonna get right down to business because, as you have come to know, if you've been watching the previous episodes, that these things pick up in a hurry, and if you blink, you're gonna miss something. Well, if you blink, you'll be fine. But if you close your ears or walk away from earshot, you're gonna lose some stuff. So we're gonna jump right into this. We left off in chapter 6, verse 4. So today we're gonna pick up in verse 5, and we're gonna thank the Father for allowing us to hear His word and get into this so deep that we have no choice but to see who He is and what His intentions are for us. In the name of His Son, Yahushua HaMashiach, Amen. Verse 5. And YAHUAH saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. That doesn't seem to have changed. In fact, it has either stayed the same, which I don't think that's true, or escalated, which I'm heavily leaning toward. I'm going to go with the latter and say that means evil has escalated. Imagine that. To say evil means the actions are to pull or push someone down, that the effect on another or other is negative, whereas the opposite of that, love, means to edify, it means to lift someone up. So if you're running around saying, oh, I love you, well, you're not saying anything. It's your actions that count when you're talking about love. Love is not dependent nor needs your feelings, actions, or let's cut that part. Love does not need your emotions or your feelings. It requires your actions. And those actions must be the upliftment of someone or others. Can't just be words. Can't be because you feel good about it. Verse 6. And YAHUAH repented that he had made man on the earth, and agreed him at his heart. Verse 7. And YAHUAH said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air, for I repent that I have made them. Sound like he was pretty upset, right? For all those who say, oh, I serve a good God. Sorry, I hate saying that word, but just so you get the point. Well, there's going to be some people who don't think he was very good coming up in these ensuing verses. Nevertheless, YAHUAH turned away from man. His desire was to reverse course. Man, his actions, which were disobedience, incessant disobedience, possibly more important, not represent his image. Instead, the image of other Elohim, whom he did not create and make them to be like, is the image that we represented. His jealousy burned and his anger overflowed to the point that he saw no other way but to destroy man and all that he had corrupted, which was the animals, everything. All that was made from man, man corrupted. YAHUAH's goal to make people like himself had succeeded, but his intent for them to be like him had failed. Now, therein lies an interesting statement. To say that something YAHUAH did fail seems preposterous, ludicrous, but that's the case. Whether or not he actually failed, maybe this was all his intent. Considering his anger, his emotions over this, I think it was a failure. He was angry about that, to say the least. He wanted us to himself, but we choose others over him. It wasn't just in the past, it's present. He was utterly bitter about that. He was tired of being irritated by all that dust. He was sneezing, he was coughing, it was in his eyes. It was time to wash out the dust. I should point out that in verse 6, it reads that man was made on earth, not in earth. I just thought that was important to point out. Verse 8. But Noah found grace in the eyes of YAHUAH. His grandfather Hanok was also favored by YAHUAH and Elohim. So just keep that in mind. Verse 9. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generations, and Noah walked with Elohim. Noah was perfect in his generations does not necessarily imply that he was perfect compared to everyone in history. Just his generation, for as we know, there is one coming who shall be perfect in every way. Now, we're going to pretend like we don't know, but in the back of our minds, we know that there is one coming who is perfect in every way. Now, because of his righteousness, Noah and YAHUAH were in agreement. They walked together. To say that he walked with YAHUAH, with Elohim, I think in this case is merely to imply that they were in agreement in perhaps certain, specific ways of being, certain behavior. Not necessarily everything, but it was enough to put him in agreement with YAHUAH particularly. And he could also have walked physically with him. That's not out of the conversation. But they walked together. Noah walked his talk. That Noah walked with Elohim does not necessarily mean that YAHUAH came here or took Noah to where he was and they actually walked side by side. In fact, this could very well say that not only did he and YAHUAH see things the same, but he also had relationships with other Elohim who were like-minded with YAHUAH. While the latter could be a stretch, which, considering that he was the king and they served him, is very possible, it's not impossible, and does still remain in line with the words written. Verse 10, and Noah begot 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. This is the second time stating that Noah begot 3 sons. I think it's repeated and emphasized because the writer does not want you to think that he had any other children. He had 3 sons. I think that was it. Verse 11. The earth also was corrupt before Elohim, and the earth was filled with violence. This seems to say that not only was the earth corrupt before YAHUAH, but the other Elohim saw the corruption as well. Lest you forget that in verses 3 and 5, that YAHUAH was growing ever more upset with the corruption he was seeing. This is to say that their image was really messed up. Practically everyone was in it for himself. Whatever they could do to elevate themselves in whatever way they did, if it hurt someone else, it did not matter. It is so good that things has changed, right? With all of this evil and hedonism, it is no wonder that the earth was filled with violence, just like today. Now, I want to point out that it says the earth. Now, that could mean all the people on the earth as a whole, or it could mean the planet too. I'm a little uncertain. I don't know which way to go on that one, but considering what he's going to do, it could mean both. In fact, I'm pretty sure it means both. All right, verse 12. And Elohim looked upon the earth and beheld. It was corrupt. For all flesh had corrupted at his way upon the earth. This verse seems to say that YAHUAH looked upon the earth. He saw that his ways had been corrupted. But this takes it farther than in verse 5. Here he sees that almost everyone was corrupt. They did not any longer manifest anything resembling his image. The very sight of just a few must have been mercilessly heartbreaking. But everyone that was downright just corrupt, it was infuriating. And probably with a profound sadness as well. Do not forget, YAHUAH, just like you, you were made like him in his likeness and image, though the image is corrupt. But just like him, you have feelings. So one of his feelings that he likely felt was sadness, coupled with some profound divine disappointment. Now, do not forget, YAHUAH has emotions. Do not forget that he has emotions, okay? It's important. We do, and he made us in his image and likeness. Verse 13. Oh, almost time to wrap this up. See how quick this goes? Time flies. Pay attention now. Got a couple more verses to get through. And Elohim said unto Noah, end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them. And behold, I will destroy them with the earth. He did say all flesh. So that included all the animals, birds, and creepy things too. Things on the earth, things under the earth, things in the oceans. All of it. Now, if you wonder where all the oil came from, now you know. This was really personal to him as the authority over it all, as he said that these things had come before him. This conversation must have been terrifying for Noah. The anger that YAHUAH probably showed, considering the wrath he was prepared to unleash, would have been enough to give anyone a heart attack, a stroke, just drop dead. I mean, for him to be upset, there was probably thunder and probably earthquakes. Everybody probably wondered what's going on. The earth might have started spinning faster. Who knows? This was anger, all right? Now, his voice must have been deep enough to drown it. The earth probably shook with every word. Even though Noah had a great relationship with him, he had to fear for his own life when YAHUAH said he would destroy the earth. He cannot be expected to understand that meant everything that was terrestrial by nature. It did not have gray hair. If he did not have gray hair already, this conversation probably gave him some, and then that hair probably fell out. I mean, because that's deep. I mean, you got the one who breathes life, angry at everyone, okay? I can see making me upset. Well, let me rephrase that. I can see me getting upset. You can't make me upset. That's something I do. So to say that what he saw, he wanted to show so much anger that he's going to get rid of everything. And he's telling Noah about it. So Noah must have been, scared out of his wit. I couldn't imagine. But what I can imagine is picking this up in the next verse. So this is your servant of YAHUAH. So Yah telling you thank you and please come again. This stuff is getting really good. And by stuff, I mean these scriptures, these stories, these words left for us throughout time so that we can learn who our Father truly is and who we should be like. And let our dust have some kind of foundation. Let it not be like the dust we were made from. Let's change those aspects. Let's change those facets. And let's have some foundation. Let's have some loyalty. And let's call upon the name YAHUAH and start worshiping things of this earth, because that's only going to lead to destruction and damnation. This is Soya saying good night and so long. I'll see you next time.